Hey, I'm Lorenza, founder of the Gwen Group. This is Woman Behind the Brand, spotlighting garden route founders, entrepreneurs, and women in business. This is their story. Welcome to another episode of Woman Behind the Brand. Is a video series where we get to know women founders, entrepreneurs, and women in business on the garden route. What she's built, what she's learned, what drives her, and what makes her a true pro at what she does. Today, I am with Melanie, founder of HealthStack. HealthStack supplies products in their natural form to help support people in their daily lives, from daily focus, for deep work, to hydration, for movement, stress management, and restorative sleep. Melanie, welcome. I am so happy to have you here.
Hi, how are you today?
Yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome
good.
to
I'm
hear.
feeling pumped up to be having this conversation. So, Melanie, I think we should just jump straight in. Tell me
Perfect.
a little bit more about HealthStack and what led you to start your business.
I think it definitely comes down to a journey that I've been on in my personal life and learning to slow down and start taking accountability in my life, to start making better choices for me, to live a healthier lifestyle, to live a better lifestyle. So I've gone through years of this long journey trying to find things that help, but in a natural way, a simple way. For me, that's what it's been, to try and learn what is out there, the power that we have in our hands that has been given to us, and then to be able to give products to people that aren't necessarily a bunch of supplements that you need to take, but foods that are natural that you can incorporate into your daily life. So it's been one step at a time, slowly adding new products, but trying to stick to the base of where I started is the natural products. So yeah.
Yes. I think you mentioned in a blog that's going to be published on the Gwen Group website. You mentioned in 2019 there was a definite shift or necessity to take a new and different step.
Yeah, I'd been for probably about a decade of my life in my 20s thinking that I was healthy, overtraining, eating according to diets, just everything, nothing ever worked. And I was just always overweight. I was training 6, 7 days a week. I was either under eating or eating too much. So I never had the knowledge to really be empowered and see food as a nourishment. And I was on a diet plan from a dietitian, as well as a exercise routine that was prescribed to me, because this would solve everything for me. And it didn't do anything. It didn't work. So I eventually went to the doctor to get my hormones tested and find out what was wrong with me. And ultimately, my test results came back as normal. So I had a doctor pretty much give me a plaster. So ultimately for me, what it was is being prescribed antidepressants, because she could see how frustrated I was. And for me, sure, maybe in the sense of, okay, let's get your stress level down, then the things will just sort themselves out. But for me, you just not wanting to help me get to the root cause of the issue, but you want to prescribe a pill that's going to cause me to feel numb and disconnected from myself. So that was the start of me questioning more. I stopped training completely. I stopped all diets, and I actually lost weight. Like, I went cold turkey off of everything, and I started losing weight. And that made me start questioning, okay, why? What were the factors? I was definitely underfueling, but also being highly stressed. I wasn't sleeping properly. I was overtraining. All of these things eventually add to your body being in the stress state where you're not able to actually feel, I'm safe, I'm thriving, I can let go. It's you holding on with, it's your body is holding on for dear life, because it needs to survive in this hostile environment.
So a question, we're talking a lot about the physical things, but in this case, when you dropped everything, you dropped overtraining, dropped the dietitian's recommendations, what was happening in your thought process? Was there, because I always think that, your thoughts are also really responsible for everything that's physical as well. So what was going on kind of mentally at that time?
A lot of things. It's also quite a few years ago, but it was definitely trying to shift my focus, and it was slow. 2019 was pretty slow, but because I stopped everything and then eventually started, okay, I'm losing weight, so let's start adding a bit of training in. But I started focusing more on weights at that point because I wanted to be stronger. And then
Yes.
I think the real shift really started in about 2020, and I lost my job, got out of a very long relationship. There was a lot of things that happened in my life, and and COVID came. So people were in
Yeah.
lockdown,
There
and
was a pause.
2020 was going to be my year. I was going to restart everything, simply go back to my drafting and my drawing, and nothing worked out like it was supposed to. So I ended up moving in with my folks back then, and we were all in with family in lockdown space. We had nice space outside. We had a vegetable garden and those types of things. And I think that's really where major shifts in food started happening because takeaways weren't a thing anymore. You weren't really going to the shops. So what you had, you were cooking your own meals from scratch. And that's where I started, I think, the biggest shift with food coming in, cooking your own meals. Okay, but when I go to a restaurant and I eat a burger, why does it make me feel bad when I eat it there? But when I eat one at home, I don't feel bloated. I don't feel, and there's these questions
Yeah.
that start happening when you're in this journey of like why, and cooking more of your own meals. Just my body started functioning better. I was feeling better. My inflammation that I had started dropping. The chronic headaches that I had every single day of my life,
Yes.
I don't know for how many years
So
they were started going
yeah,
away.
so actually just starting with the basics, right? The absolute basics. So I have another question for you. So obviously then over time, kind of health stack kind of became a thing and you launched and started the whole thing. What are would you say, yeah, what are the fundamentals of the products that you have through health stack? And then later I'd like to know how you implement them personally into your daily life. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about the actual product.
For me, salt is a big thing. So I was looking for Celtic salt myself and eventually decided in the interim, because we were waiting on the functional mushroom range, the facility was being built and there was a lot of teething problems. So that ended up being very delayed. So I knew I'd already started the process to start the business. But back then, everything didn't work out like I planned, but I went with it. So the salt came in, and I come from a past where I stayed away from salt. I had a bad experience as a youngster, and I was drinking anywhere from 3 to 6 liters of water a day. So I don't take tablets. I'm drinking copious amounts of water. I don't get salt, and that ultimately made me flush out a lot of my minerals. So when I started
Yes.
incorporating salt into my diet, especially being active, I definitely started feeling that the hydration and the minerals, muscle cramps, the mucus buildup, the headaches, a lot of those things started dissipating because of the pure salt that is in its natural form and your body needs it. And because it's a sea salt, our bodies, our blood consistency is very similar to sea. So ultimately, you're not getting all of the minerals that you have in the seawater because some of it's going to go through evaporation when it's air and sun dried. But you're getting majority of those minerals and things coming through into your body, and your body recognizes it. So that's working on a base in your body to support different functions that it needs to do. And then the functional mushrooms as well. At this stage is the lion's mane and the reishi. Lion's mane is amazing for your brain, cognition, memory, focus, all of those things. But it also adds to your immune system, repairs nervous system, and insoluble fiber. So it feeds your gut as well when it's in its whole form, which is how we do it. It's not a extracted product. You're getting the fiber and everything that's part of the actual mushroom.
No,
And
capsule.
yes, and yeah, we do the powder and the capsule. So it depends on how people prefer taking it. I'm not a tablet person. I definitely prefer just making a concoction in the morning or in the afternoon with all my stuff either in a ginger shot or some water or whatever it is. And I'll just drink it down or incorporating it in your food. And then
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
reishi
Okay.
is
Yeah.
for
Duration.
calming your body, relaxing your nervous system, repairing that fight or flight stress response in your body. So that just helps with restorative sleep and just calming yourself or your nervous system down.
Yeah. And then just asking about you personally. So would you have these supplements like the lion's mane and the reishi daily? Or is it when you notice that you are going through a stressful time? How How do you personally use them?
So I like to take breaks in between every now and then. There are a lot of products out there that are natural products that are amazing to support our bodies, but they take over functions in our body. So our body gets lazy and it doesn't function like it needs to. So it's now relying on this supplement that you've taken and it's not doing its normal function. So where the functional mushrooms come in, they don't take over a function, they just support the body's function to run more optimally. So you don't have to necessarily take breaks off of it, but it's nice when you do, or mine is generally because I forget to take it for a week, or if I've been traveling and I forgot mine at home or something like that. And then when you start taking it again, you're like, oh, wow, I definitely feel the
Okay.
difference that it wasn't in my system. But it also builds up. So generally, depending on how clean your lifestyle is, it can be anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, but it slowly builds up in your system as well. So it's a continuous thing that you take. And for me personally,
Yes,
I
yes.
generally have a very clean lifestyle, so I can quickly pick up when I've taken it and when not. The reishi, definitely for me, I've experimented. Like I can't have too much coffee. I'll get the jitters. And I actually, the one
Yes.
day, I don't know why, but I drank reishi afterwards, and that buzzing
After
that you
you've
can
had
feel when
coffee.
you've over caffeinated, yes, that actually calmed down after about a half an hour. So it's amazing how you can see the correlation and how I was able to feel that because my body is very sensitive to it. But yeah, the
Very
salt, I
cool.
morning and every time I'm going to have a glass of water, or when I have water, I'll take a few crystals, dissolve it, and drink a glass of water just to get that water in my cells. When I'm training, I generally put it in my water bottle. And yeah, the lion's mane is in the morning and reishi in the evening just to help with focus and work during the day, and where in the evenings to that wind down, slow down, to actually have good sleep to function better the next day.
Yes. Well, yeah, actually just going back to the caffeine story, I used to kind of heavily rely on it, but I think it's a bit counterintuitive because now I'm kind of implementing some fasting into my daily routine. And I find that I just cannot have a black cup of coffee as the first thing I have in the morning. It's just not going to work. So if I do have a cup, it'll be around like 11 o'clock. But actually I just find that doing less really works as opposed to more. So when you were talking about over exercising, doing less but more specific, if you know, just actually taking things away as opposed to adding things. And that's what I like about you know, the functional mushrooms is that they're kind of working to get the whole body in balance, right? It's not
Yeah.
necessarily kind of adding more. It's helping the body to do what it needs to do naturally.
Yeah, and also talking about the fasting, I did a talk about 2 weeks ago at a convention center in Cape Town, and I was talking about fasting and autophagy and those types of things, but it being part of your daily life cycle with your circadian rhythm, where talking about your coffee, you can't do this first thing in the morning, and the reason is so your body naturally spikes cortisol in the morning. That's your wake up hormone, and you want that as
Yes.
high as possible in the morning so that can slowly come down through the day. When that starts coming down and your body is being active throughout the day, so your ATP, your adenosine triphosphate, so that's your cellular energy. When that starts dropping because your energy for the day is going down, the other side of it is your adenosine, which is a receptor in your brain. So that receptor starts telling your body and it builds up throughout the day. So as your energy comes down, your adenosine goes up. And that throughout the day, you want it as high as possible so that in the evening, when the sun starts setting and there's no more light, our bodies want to go into melatonin production. It triggers that so that you can go sleep. But coffee attaches itself to the adenosine receptors in your brain and it blocks the adenosine. So that's actually where caffeine comes in. When you're blocking it in the mornings, your body thinks that wired feeling, like because it's not building up this sleepy hormone that you need throughout the day to start building up to go to sleep in the evenings. So it's
Gosh.
amazing how our bodies work,
Yeah.
and then the
I'm not
fasting as
giving a
well. That
coffee company.
I also haven't. I do enjoy coffee. It's not an everyday thing, but I do love a good cappuccino. So a little bit later in the morning.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for that. I just want to move on to maybe more of the mindsets kind of theme around building your business. So kind of, kind of looking at your business, what is the mindset that has really helped you to grow HealthStack to what it is today? And by the way, I've seen it in so many shops. So you have definitely gotten out there and are doing really, really well.
It's definitely being positive and focusing on yourself, not looking at what everyone else is doing around you, because then it's not authentic. So I do try and be positive with everything that I do and just stick to my own lane and my beliefs and what I would feel and that I want to put out there. So that's a big thing for me. And like we were saying earlier, the positivity is such a big thing when it comes to the neuroplasticity of your mind, to say to your cells, like, we're looking for the good in all the chaos that's happening, because you start seeing more of the
Yes.
good. So even when it's going absolutely rough, it's exhausting, it's chaos, there are a million things happening, or just things that you've never done before that are really hard. That positivity and that strength for me is just to focus on a higher power for me and know that no matter what, I will be okay. And even if it doesn't work out like I wanted to, and it wasn't really an ideal situation, what did I learn out of that situation? How can I be better in the next one? Because we're all going to stumble. We're all going to make mistakes, but it's a journey that we're on to be able to get better and level up every time. Because if we were all just perfect, what would we be striving for? So it's ultimately just to keep leveling up and doing the hard things, even when you don't want to do it, and just staying positive and grounded in who you are.
Well, I think a lot of the hard things become easier over time.
And then you get new
I
hard
think
things.
about some things that were so confusing, so complicated, so absolutely overwhelming that it's second nature now. So yeah, I think there are like these little breakthroughs that happen along the way, little hurdle, and then it's like plain sailing, and then you're doing really well, and then up there comes another hurdle again. So yeah.
But it's with anything in life. The more you do it, the better you get at it.
Hmm. Um, Kimmel, and what about what would you like people listening today to understand about supporting their well-being in a more practical and sustainable way? What would be what do you want them to know?
There's no one magic
What?
pill that fixes everything. It's about taking accountability for yourself and getting to know your body, understanding how it responds to foods and external factors that you expose it to. How do you feel when perfumes, detergents, foods, anything? There are so many factors that influence our bodies, and I think if we can just educate people for the things that they can look out for, it's giving them an empowerment to take back their control and their power and make better decisions in their bodies, and actually be in a state where they're not chronically inflamed or chronically issues in their bodies where they don't actually know what the problem is. And it's that cleanup process to get to where, like my body, if I eat something that I shouldn't have, or it had a preservative or something in it, my nose blocks. I'm like, okay, what was in
Yeah.
that? So those are triggers to me. And I think
Yes.
it ultimately it's to be able to teach people how to implement this in their life. And it doesn't have to be overcomplicated, but at least taking one step at a time, doing one thing at a time. Doesn't have to be overwhelming and chaos. It's just slowing down and
Yes.
listening. So I think that's definitely one of the more important things to focus on.
Oh, fantastic. 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 Thank you so much, Mel. Yeah, I think that was a great conversation. It was really nice to hear more about your take on well-being and a kind of mindset in business, and of course to learn more about HealthStack and the awesome products. So yeah, I think you can find Melanie on and HealthStack, of course, on the Gwen Collective at gwengroup.co.za. And of course, I will put all of her links and website down below in the show notes. So please go contact Mel if anything in this video resonated with you. Yeah. So thanks, Mel.
Thank you. I appreciate your
Appreciate it.
time and the good chat. And hopefully, this can go out there to the
Yeah.
right people that need to hear it. And yeah, get in touch, ask some questions, share your stories, and
Yeah.
let's get a conversation started.
Absolutely. And if people enjoyed this conversation, you can follow along here as we continue to meet more women behind the brand. Yeah, building businesses, sharing what they're doing, creating opportunities, and doing brilliant work along the garden route. So thanks a lot, Mel, and I will see you soon.
Thanks, Lorenza. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.